Hi guys, I'm back again. This is my final deck list update for now. Of course, until set 15 and prisms and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm covering a clan which pretty much got more support from set 14, which is Neo Nectar, and their subclan, Musketeers. For the starter, playing Kira, because it's the only Musketeer starter we currently have, and it's great to researcher. Pretty much enough said about that. For the trigger lineup, the deck has now taken a turn and gone completely rainbow trigger. So, 4 Musketeer crit, 4 Musketeer heal, 4 draw trigger, which unfortunately we don't have the Musketeer draw yet. So, I am playing the lovely eggplant. Look how enthusiastic this thing actually looks. I've never seen an eggplant that happy. And for the final trigger, we have Ernst, which is a stand trigger. And he follows suit of Neo Nectars, well, the Musketeers anyway. Counterblast 1, put him to bottom deck, check top 4, search for Musketeer, and call it to rearguard. Now, he's basically the trigger they could have asked for. It's kind of a shame that he is a stand. It could have been a draw or crit, but we got it. It happened. But yeah, that's obviously the crit lineup. The trigger lineup. Time to move on to grade 1. I'll start with the less relevant stuff first, in terms of grade 1. So we have 3 Corolla Dragon. Now, I still play Corolla Dragon purely for the fact that it's an 8k booster. It's a good ride. Unfortunately, it's not a Musketeer, so it's one of the only things in the deck that you really can't call from other skills. You just have to kind of draw into it. But other than that, it leads to making 20 or an 18k column with the main Vanguard. It's the biggest boost the deck has because we obviously don't have Murky yet, which is obviously still Fighters Collection 1, and we obviously have no idea when we're ever going to get it in the TCG. 4. Antonio. Now, Antonio is the perfect guard for Musketeers. Of course, he helps fuel Cecilia's limit break skill as well by giving units in the drop zone. And of course, is a perfect guard. For Ruth. Now, Ruth is also the 10k attacker of the deck, which obviously makes it very handy at being grade 2 or even grade 1 if you've got the attacking turn. She's 7k, but obviously 10k when you attack. And then finally, for Rebecca. Now, Rebecca is one of the main driving forces of the deck, along with her grade 2 companion Kaivant, which when they're placed on rearguard or vanguard, you counterblast 1, choose one of your rearguards, retire it, look up to 4 cards on the top of your deck, and call a Musketeer from that. The whole theme of the deck is more about self-replacing, especially when it starts getting into the bigger units. On to the grade 2s. As I mentioned, I'll get Kaivant out of the way, because we've already covered his grade 1 version. Again, it's the whole retire and call 1. 3 Alberto. Damage unflipper of the deck. Of course, there are points where you start running out of counterblast to use, especially for your limit break. So Alberto is just there really to help keep Cecilia going. And lastly, for Augusto. 12k attacker of the deck. Not much else to say about him. And to the grey 3s. It's been a really quick video. I don't really know what to say about the deck anymore. 3 Wisteria. Now, Wisteria was some more support that we got in BT14. It's the only break ride that Neo Nectar have today, and probably the only break ride Neo Nectar are ever going to get. Has the skill of, when it gets ridden, or rode, whichever's correct English here, counterblast 1, choose 2 of your Neo Nectar rear guards and search your deck for 1 card of the same name. So, it's quite good if you've got Corolla Dragon sat in back row. You can call out more, another AK booster. You can call out more Gusto. It helps get everything you need out of the deck, because of where there's the whole sort of like multiple copy things going on as well. And of course gives the Vanguard 10k, which is useful for your main Vanguard, Cecilia, because she's only 10k. During the break ride turn you can make her at least 20. For those who don't know, Cecilia's limit break is to counterblast 1, stick 5 normal units, which obviously is everything that isn't a trigger, from your drop zone back into the deck, and to call 2 more Cecilia from the deck, which works really nicely with Antonio, because obviously perfect guards are also normal units, which helps keep fueling on defences over time. As I mentioned before, break riding, you're using a counterblast, and you might use a Cecilia counterblast during the turn as well, so it puts Alberto to good use as well, because you can unflip that damage. Cecilia's other skill, which she kind of fuels herself anyway by her limit break, calling out to Cecilia. You can retire a musketeer to check the top 5 cards of your deck and call any musketeer among them. Again, this fits the whole theme of what the deck does, which is the whole retire and call. And of course, it's completely costless as well, unlike Rebecca and Kyvan. But of course, this deck has whole ways that they can combo off by calling out other units, because of course you could call one of the 2 cards I just named, and then of course retire more off to call more things. The only issue with the deck, well, it's not really much of an issue, but sometimes trying to fuel the drop zone is pretty hard. But luckily we have Antonio, because that's an instant 2 cards into the drop, providing you didn't drop a trigger. But with the arise of set 16 and more musketeer support, we get the quintet wall. However, the better legion, which is Martina, still requires you to have about 9 cards in drop to really actually take full use of her effects, which is slightly awkward, because when you legion you obviously need to use 4 and then she returns 5 herself. However, you don't have to use the skill on the legion turn anyway. But I do like musketeers for their ability to keep going, keep grinding out situations, especially where they can keep refueling the deck. It's probably one of the only decks that you probably can't ever deck out, I guess. As long as you've got a counterblast to use, you're fine. But yeah, this has been my updated Neo Nectar Musketeers. Hope this helps you guys. See you soon.